Hi ladies and gents, welcome back to our last video of nature of the roots. So on this video we're going to discuss some of the questions from past papers. I have 3 question papers, 3 different questions. We're going to discuss how to answer this question. So we'll start with this one. So they say that the roots of we have this as, they say the roots of a quadratic equation are given by x is equal to minus 3 plus or minus the root of 7m plus 3 over 4. So what we're going to do is that we need to answer these 2 questions. We need to determine the values of m for which this equation will have, for the first one, 2 equal roots. So what we're going to do, let's start by rewriting the given. To answer this question, we're going to start by, let's write the given information. This is question 3. Right, so they say that we are given x to be equals to minus 3 plus or minus the root of minus 7m plus 3, and everything is divided by 4. This was the given equation. So they want us to determine the values of m where this equation will have 2 equal roots. Remember, according to our map, if we can go back to the map, when we have 2 equal roots, it's when the discriminant is equal to 0. So what we have to do, we just have to take our discriminant and equate it to 0 and solve. So what we're going to do is that, let's quickly work this thing out. Remember, we said that the discriminant is whatever that you have inside your square root. Remember, if I say x is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, everything divided by 2a. Whatever that you have inside your square root, which is the b squared minus 4a. This is the discriminant. This is your delta. So this tells you that your delta on this equation will be minus 7m plus 3. So it will be minus 7m plus 3. So this guy here is our delta. We can say that delta is equal to minus 7m plus 3. So now if we go back to the question said, where this have 2 equal roots, and according to our notes, when we have 2 equal roots, it's when the discriminant is what? The discriminant is equal to 0. So we have to take whatever that we are given here, which is minus 7m plus 3, equate this to 0 and solve for m. So we'll have minus 7m is equal to negative 3, divide both sides by negative 7, divide by negative 7. Therefore, what is the value of m? The value of m will be negative, minus 7. This will give us positive 3 over 7. So this is how you answer 3.1.1. Right, so let's move to the next question, which says that where determine the values of m for which, I think we also have to discuss the marks. So this is 2 marks, 2 marks. Determine the values of m for which this equation will have non-real roots. So if we can go back to our map where we have the non-real roots, it's when the discriminant is what? It's when the discriminant is less than 0. So we need to take our discriminant, which is minus 3.1.2. We need to take our discriminant and say it must be less than 0. And remember, our discriminant is minus 7m plus 3. This guy must be less than 0. From there, you just have to solve for m. So this was easy. 2 marks again. So this is minus 7m less than. Now, this is minus 3. The 3 comes on the right-hand side and it will change the sign. So now, this right here, it's where most students mess up again. So, but not you. So what you have to do is that, remember the inequalities. What happens when you divide by a negative? What happens when you multiply both sides by a negative? So now we're going to divide this by minus 7, divide by minus 7. Because of we divide by minus, this guy will change. The sign changes from less than to greater than. So the inequality sign will change. So this side, this 2 will cancel. You are left with m, which is greater than positive 3/7. When you divide by a negative, the sign changes. And that, okay, this question had only 4 marks. So let's move to the next question paper. On this one, this is 2.3. So on 2.3, they say that, this is the one, determine the values of m if x squared minus mx plus inside the bracket we have m plus 3 is equal to 0 have equal roots. So what I'm going to do to solve this one, the first thing that I can do is to, this thing is fine. We can see that it is in standard form. Let's rewrite our given equation. So to answer this one, this is question, this is from question 2.3. Okay, so to answer this one, this is question 2.3. So on this one, remember that we are given x squared minus mx plus m plus 3. It's equal to 0. So now, remember that the formula for discriminant is equal to b squared minus 4ac. So now, this is your formula. Now, what you have to do, you just have to do what? You just have to sub in your values. But before we do that, remember they say for the equation, roots, the discriminant will be equal to 0. Why? Because from the question set, has equal roots. So if you go to your map, when we have equal roots, it's when the discriminant is equal to 0. So we need to take our discriminant equated to 0. We need to take our discriminant and equate it to 0. So now, this guy must be equal to 0. The b squared minus 4ac, this has to be equal to 0. Then now you can start solving. So, plug in your ingredients and follow the steps. So now, what is the value of a? This thing is in standard form. It is in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c. So the value of a is 1. The value of b, we have the value of b as minus m. And the value of c, remember, it's everything that doesn't contain the variable x. So it will be m plus 3. That is the value of c. So where there's b, we need to put m squared minus 4 into where there's a, we put 1, and c, it's m plus 3. So now, remember again, we need to use the laws of exponent. Remember we talked about 2 terms that are raised to a power, where we said a times b n is equal to an times bn. This applies because we're going to have minus 1 squared. We have m squared as what? So the m minus m squared is the same as minus 1 squared and also m squared. So this will give us positive m squared. It's very important to know that. So this will give us positive m squared. So if we solve this thing, we'll have m squared minus 4 times, we need to multiply out the bracket. 4 times 1 is 1. 4 times m will give us 4m. So we'll have this as 4m minus 4m. 4 times minus 4 times positive 3 will give us negative 12. Now we can equate this to 0 and solve for m, because the question said solve for m. So if we solve for m, we need to factorize this quadratic equation. If we factorize, this is m, this is m. The factors of 12 that when you add or subtract, they'll give you 4 is 6 and 2. We have it at 6 and 2. Since it's negative, one should be positive, the other one should be negative. But now we know that the negative will go to the bigger number. This will be negative. The negative will go to the bigger number. Okay, so we'll give the negative a bigger number, this minus 6, so the 2 will be positive. We use the zero product property. Take the first one, equate it to 0, and also whatever that you have on the second bracket, equate it to 0. Now you can solve for m. M is equals to minus 2, or m is equals to minus or positive 6. So this is how you solve this question, which is 5 marks. Right, which is 5 marks. So now, someone can ask, if this is 5 marks, how do they mark this type of a question? You're going to get a mark for equating this to 0. You'll have a mark for, a mark for saying the discriminant is 0, a mark for substitution. Then you'll have a mark for to factorize. A mark to factorize, then you'll have a mark for both answers. Right, now let's do the last one, which is 1.4. Let's try this one. This one is 4 marks. Let's try this one. This one is 4 marks. They say that the roots of the equation, so we are given the equation as x squared minus 3x minus k, and they say this is equals to 0. So now they say the roots of that equation. So these are the roots. So what I'm going to do is that, let's quickly rewrite that given one. So this is 1.4. This will be question 1.4. Okay, 1.4. What I'm going to do to solve this one, the first thing that I can do, remember that we are given the root as x is equals to 3 plus or minus 3, the root of 5 over, everything is over 2. If you can remember the quadratic formula, it is in this form, right? It is in this form. So we can see that in front of the square root, before the sign, let's say after the sign, we don't have a number. After this plus or minus, we don't have a number. We just have the square root of something inside. So what I'm trying to say is that you need to get rid of this 3. You just have to take your calculator, rewrite this thing as x is equal to 3 plus or minus. Change this 3 root 5. Just say 3 root 5 on your calculator. It will give you the root of 45, because we don't need that 3 in front of after the plus or minus. This is equal to 2, because now when it is in that form, you can be able to know what is the discriminant. Because when it's like this, it is in standard form. So now your discriminant will be what? 45. So we know that the discriminant is 45. So let's go back to the given equation. They said that the root of this equation, let's write down the equation, which is x squared minus 3x. So the given equation is x squared minus 3x minus k is equal to 0. So now, remember the question, they want you to determine the value of k from that equation. They want you to find the value of k. So the discriminant is equals to b squared minus 4ac. So the discriminant will be equal to, where there's b, remember our ingredients, the value of a is 1, the value of b is minus 3, and the value of c is just negative k. So we need to sub in the values here. B squared is minus 3, which is squared, minus 4 into the value of a, 1, and the value of c. This should be minus k. So when you work this thing out, you'll have your discriminant as minus 3 squared, it's 9. So the negative will cancel because it's negative times negative. So it's 4 times 1, it's 4. Minus 4 times minus k will give us positive 4k. So now, how can we solve the value of a? Remember that from the given equation, it was given that the discriminant is 45. So where there's the discriminant, I need to sub in 45. Now, it will be easy for you to do what? To solve for k. You just have to isolate k, move the 9 this side to be negative, so that you can have 45 minus 9. It's equal to 4k. So 45 minus 9, you need to say 45 minus 9, divide both sides by 4 to make k subject of the formula. Divide both sides by 4, and therefore we can conclude and say the value of k is equals to 9. When you punch that on the calculator, you should get 9. So you just have to check what you are given on the question. Make sure that you have a plan on how to solve this one. So now I think if you guys are ready now, after watching this last video, you are ready for your exam, and thank you for watching.